Hi, this is Dominic Keating. I played Lieutenant Malcolm Reed on Enterprise, as you probably know, and you are listening to the NX7062 podcast. Enjoy.
Well, hello, and welcome to the NX7062 podcast. Look at all my early birds here before even I was, and there's nothing quite like getting ready to go on, swinging your mic into position and having the whole arm that's holding it to the desk kind of fall off in your hand. That was fun. So hence the couple seconds late getting here because I needed to put my microphone back where it needed to be so you could all hear me. Hi Nancy and Dave and Janine and Melissa. Hey, oh, love you too, Melissa. So good to see you here. Thanks for popping in. Oh, and seven is here. Early bird, earliest in the chat. Doesn't mean we had this discussion last week. Just because you say hi in the chat first doesn't mean you weren't waiting for me first. It's just it's not a race as long as you're all here when I pop in. I love it that you guys are all waiting for me. It's great. All right. So you know what? This is the official Shuttlepod Show after party. What, Zod? Do you want to come up? Zod's hanging out down here. He's debating whether he wants to put holes in my feet or my legs. Let me see if I can do this. Come on. Come say hi. There you go. This is Zod. I know some of you guys may have met him, but yep, he's my orange kitty. Hello. All right. So, Melissa, no apologies necessary. It's that you're here now, and that's what's important. Probably helps that I threw it in the Discord, but that's okay. I am so glad you're here now, and that's amazing because we are going to be Lasso. Meow. Meow to you. Zod, Lasso says meow. Yeah, well, you know what, Seven, he does run around and hisses at everybody else. I really feel like he's trying to tell them kneel before Zod. I really believe that. Yes, that has happened to me plenty of times as well, Dave, where I'm doing something, working or something, and the cat just has to come across the keyboard. I think at one point he disconnected me from Zoom. I was in a Zoom meeting and he hit the keyboard. Yeah, see, last minute reminders are great. Sometimes, Melissa, I feel like the last minute reminders are better than the ones from like 3 days ago. I'm like, don't forget to come in on Monday and join me. That's why I like to do most of my come see me's on the day of. Yes. All right. And I do this out of love for Magic Lasso. And I know that you can't post a link here, Lasso, but Magic Lasso is one of my favorite people. He is one of my favorite people, and he needs a little help. He has a short, like 60-second video on his YouTube channel about Superman comics. And I know you can't post the link, but if you want to post the name of the video, if anybody has time after we're done, nobody's excused. You all have to come here. You all have to stay here, but afterwards, if you go and just somebody, he's at 99 views. I want to see him get to 1,000. So if somebody can go over to Magic Lasso's channel and just watch this Superman quickie little short that he did, he'll have 1,000 views. I did it from every single one of my YouTube channels that I have control over. So I can't help him anymore. We are chatting, Nancy, to answer your question, we're chatting everywhere. That was so all right. So oh, thank you. The title of it's literally 60 seconds, and the title is Back Issue of the Week, Volume 62. Like I said, after this is over, if somebody wants to sneak over to Magic Lasso's channel and just give that a quick view so we can get to 1,000. Welcome back, Nancy. So anyway, so let's see. Shuttlepod Show, after party, now that I've done my PSA for Magic Lasso. Shuttlepod Show. Bob O'Reilly, one of my absolute favorite people. If you guys missed it, of course, go back and give it. Hey, Robert, go back and give it a quick view. Or not a quick view. If you're on Patreon, you get like 2 hours worth. If you give it just a regular YouTube view, you're going to get an hour and a half worth of the incredible Robert O'Reilly. They had so much fun talking. They actually couldn't do trivia because they just had so much fun doing everything else. But they did get to On a Desert Island with Connor Chenier. Maybe they'll add On a Desert Island with Dominic Keating, because Dominic had a really good question for Robert about being on a desert island. So I think it's Dominic's turn, you know. Yes, Chat Pack 2.0 is definitely in the house. Always good to see you all. Speaking of, hold on, the VHS board game. Hold on a second. Hold on. Don't go anywhere, guys. I don't know if this cord's going to stretch. It might. This is what you're referring to, my friend. I know with the backdrop, it's really hard to see, but I got two of them up, sort of, kind of. You guys, I don't want you guys to see how cruddy my office looks. There, wait, there it is. Yes, Robert is the face of the Star Trek The Next Generation interactive VCR board game. He is the face of it. I bought two of these for $20 from my local comic book shop. They're not for me. They are for a friend. But I have yet to actually get them out to them because trust me, it is. It's the Bob O'Reilly VHS Star Trek The Next Generation VHS game. That's funny. Yeah, because you were taking up the VCR to play it. I have two of them. Got them from my local comic book shop, and the only reason that they are not in the hands of the person that they actually belong to is because how do you ship two of those? They're kind of big and bulky. I figured out a way to ship them, but I think I might see them in May, and if I do, then I can just give them to them, and they can get them home themselves instead of shipping them. Because that's the other thing. I'm not sure I would trust those to the post office. I mean, it's one thing to put some big heavy books in a box. It's another thing, I think, to put those two things together. But they are destined for their rightful home very, very soon. Hopefully I will get them out at some point. I'm terrible about remembering to mail things. But like I said, those two were just kind of bulky and unwieldy. Oh, well, there you go. Love that. So you can watch the video on YouTube and play along. Yeah, I don't know if it's for a collection that they have, but they have two. So technically they could, as they always say, you can play with one, as collectors say, you play with one and keep the other. So I don't know what their plans are, but they are ready to go as soon as I have a chance to get them out there. But yeah, that's I really didn't have a question for Bob. I know Bob. I work with Bob. I've booked Bob into things. So I'm thinking, I really didn't have a question for him. And if I don't have question, thank you, Nancy. Yes, everybody, please remember to smash the like button for me. And if you are not following, then please subscribe. I need to find somebody that's going to do one of those cute little hit subscribe little things for me. I don't know. Maybe Lasso. Maybe I'll ask Lasso to do it. Somebody different than just, obviously than just me. I don't know. Maybe I'll get Mark. Maybe I'll get Erica to do it because she's going to be hopefully coming on for her very own time. Just the two of us chatting away about her life. You're going to get to know Erica LaRose outside of her work on the Shuttle Pod Show, which is the foundation of this show is always to get to know people outside of their Star Trek experiences. So we're going to get to know Erica LaRose, hopefully the end of the month. I've penciled her in. So we'll see. She's going to be just me and her chatting away. Maybe do a little Star Trek 101. We'll see what happens. So no promises yet, because like I said, she is one busy lady. But we talked today. Hopefully March 27th. Hopefully the last Monday of March to kind of wrap up Women's History Month. I will let her all know how excited you are, and but like I said, hopefully her schedule will be clear. She's just got a lot going on between now and then. I invited her on tonight just because the Shuttle Pod Show happened to say that she was their favorite woman of Trek, which obviously makes sense. There's so many amazing female podcasters and out there. Sci-Fi Sisters for me tops the list. Women at Warp right up there with Sci-Fi Sisters. So many. I wish Mark was here tonight. He could take screen grabs for her, but I will let her know how much you guys want to see her. and how much there's Erica love out there. Hey, Travis, so good to see you. Been a minute. So good to see you. That's somebody else I'm actually kind of hoping. I make absolutely no promises because I have not heard back, but I am trying to get Nicole DeBoer on. The joke is that she and I have never done a live anything that there hasn't been a problem. The first time she did my podcast, we were audio only, and I sounded like a freaking chipmunk and she sounded perfect. I don't know what the hell was wrong with my audio. Then I've taped her a couple times and it's worked out. Hey, Josh! Welcome back. So glad you're joining us. And then I tried to get her on for a Halloween show and she was in Canada and the connection sucked and that went. So I texted her and reminded her that she and I have yet to do a really good live one. So we'll see. Yes, B movies. There are so many great questions to ask her about B movies. In fact, I actually just watched Prom Night 2 last night because I realized I went right from the original to 4 to see Nicole. So I missed 2 and 3. So I figured, what the hell? I had some free time last night and 2 popped up I was looking for something and 2 popped up in we suggest this for you. Oh, Cube is amazing. I watched Cube. I have added Cube to my Halloween list. In fact, when I was, chatting with Dominic at the Shuttle Pod Show live event, I sort of let it slip that I watch Hollywood Kills every year at Halloween. So I watch Hollywood Kills every year at Halloween, and then I always throw a Nicole movie in. Sometimes it's Prom Night 4, sometimes it's Cube. This year it was Hollywood Kills and Cube and Connor's Dark Harbor, which is the one that he and Mark did together, and Eric is also in that. And I highly recommend Dark Harbor. It's on Amazon Prime. It's a great suspense. It's not horror, it's suspense, but it's really good, really well done, and Connor's in it. So, even though he's got the beard, he's in it, and he does an amazing Maine accent. So just so many reasons. Yes, Nancy's seen it. Dark Harbor's fantastic. So yeah, that was my Halloween lineup this year. Halloween Kills, Cube, and Dark Harbor. Maybe one year I'll throw in Hellraiser. What is it, Hellraiser 3? I could watch Hellraiser 1. I could watch Hellraiser 3. Maybe throw in some more Trek people. Prom Night 4 is wonderful. I bought Cube. I have not seen the sequel. To Cube yet. I need to do that. And I know she's not in it, but I still want to see it. Cube a few weeks ago. I really am looking forward to watching Dark Harbor. Yeah, get on that, Melissa. It's great. It's absolutely. So Mark's other movie, Glorious, which just came out, I watched it a few weeks ago, is there you go, Dave. I will let them know. Definitely add Dark Harbor. But your mileage may vary. That's very, yeah. I mean, I recommend things. Obviously, everything I recommend here is the opinion of me and just me. It's great to have people that share that opinion, but obviously my opinions may vary from yours. But Glorious is really good, and I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. Just watch it. That one you really kind of need to watch with me just saying it's really good. You should watch it. But yeah, Dark Harbor's amazing. And like I said, the Maine accent's really good. So let's see. What else? Shuttle Pod Show. Bob O'Reilly, fantastic. I was chatting with somebody in the live chat yesterday. If you look at Bob's IMDb page, it's so much 80s, like Knight Rider. He didn't mention this either. And I've talked to him about it. So again, I didn't want to I didn't want to ask a question that I kind of already knew or talked to him about, because that's not fair if they pick my question and not somebody else's. So, but we've talked about Knight Rider. And the one thing Bob told me was he told somebody he didn't think the show was going to last. And granted, it already went 3 seasons, or it only went 3 seasons. But it's a cult classic. I mean, obviously, you say Kit. Somebody just posted a commercial that was pretty recent with Michael and Kit. The problem was they didn't get William Daniels to do Kit, and that was obvious. But Bob was in 2 episodes, and he didn't understand that he was going to be talking to a car, which I thought was, he's like, who's reading these lines and what's going on and why am I standing here? And they're like, you're going to be talking to the car. There you go. He was on TJ Hooker with Shatner. That one I didn't know. I actually know somebody else who was on TJ Hooker with Shatner. One of the actors that I'm friendly with from Land of the Giants and that I represent. that I've been trying to book for. He has some Shatner stories, and Stefan and I are talking about having him come on. So, well, look who it is. Hello. Yes, Mark, we are talking about Dark Harbor. We're also talking about Glorious, but I haven't said anything about Glorious because there's so much that would spoil it. So I'm just telling people to go watch it. And yes, Mark, I believe that was mentioned at least once that you produced that movie. Yeah. So Mark, you got to scroll up through the chats. Yeah, Glorious, which is so good. It is a glorious film. Let's see. I've needed something to watch. Dark Harbor is now on deck for tomorrow after work. Cool. Come back here and post in the comments and let us know how it was. Don't wait till next week. Post in the comments because that really helps the AI, makes me look good. So if you want to come back tomorrow and post in the comments if you liked it, which you will, because it's great. It's great. Go watch it. And then put Glorious on for Wednesday after work, because that's another great Marc Cartier production. So let's see. What else. Oh, Mark's got to scroll up in the chats because you got to see all the things people were saying about Erica and go tell Erica for me. Let's see. What else? I found the right Glorious. It looks pretty good as well. Yeah, it is. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's, I like I said, I really want to talk to people about it, but anything I say could be a potential spoiler. It's that good. It's that good. So I'm just gonna sit here and not say anything. It's really good. But then again, I mean, yeah, please, Mark, go get her. Go just to show her. She doesn't have to log on or anything. You just need to show her. Thanks. I love that. So, yeah, so the Bob O'Reilly thing with Knight Rider, we've talked about Knight Rider because Kit, and that was just so funny because it was so new that he's like, what do you mean I'm talking to the car? Okay, so the Oscars last night, I do not watch award shows. I'm very happy to go to CNN today and just like scroll down the list of the winners. And I had heard about Ke Huy Quan winning and didn't realize that he was the kid in Indiana Jones until I saw something a friend of mine posted on Instagram. And then I searched high and low on YouTube because I needed to find that moment that he and Harrison embraced, and it was so beautiful because it was when the movie won for Best Picture, and Harrison announced it, and he got to be up on stage with him, and I thought that was so beautiful. It deserved to win. Absolutely, but it was up against Fabelmans, which Connor was in for 5 seconds. So, yes, I watched his speech. And it made me cry too. It made me. Oh, hello, Erica. All right, then you can go scroll up in the chats and see. I might have let it slip that you're hopefully going to be doing the show in a couple weeks. So go scroll up and see how excited everybody is to see you coming on the show. Please. Yes, but his speech was so perfect, and I teared up when I saw it. I watched a little bit of the Diane Warren song. I listened to the Lady Gaga song. I thought one of them should have won. I wasn't real big on the song that won. But I also watched the In Memoriam, and it made me remember that we didn't just lose Nichelle this year. We lost Louise Fletcher and Kirstie Alley as well. So the Star Trek lost some amazing people this year, along with, there were a lot of losses. I forgot about Ray Liotta, forgot about Jimmy Caan. By the way, James Caan and Dominic worked together on an episode of Las Vegas, so there's a Star Trek tie-in. It was a really good episode of Las Vegas, too, and Willie Garrison was in it, too. It's in season 3. I think it's episode 12. It's called Bait and Switch. It's a really good episode, and I love Willie Garrison from his and Magic Lasso. Could beat me to this if I couldn't remember, but it's Sex and the City. Willie Garrison was in Sex and the City. The sequel to Sex and the City, he passed away, and they did his exit was crap. That's, it sucks when a beloved character, when the actor that plays somebody dies and you're kind of in the middle and you don't know what to do with their storyline. It's tough because it's like, we wanted you here and now you're not here anymore. And now we've got to figure something out. Mark will talk after. Yes, Michelle Ye won. Yes, and we're gonna get to that in a second. But Willie Garrison, the way they wrote him out of Sex and the City was absolutely awful. Was absolutely awful. But yes, Michelle Ye won for Best Actress, and then Anthony. You know, every time I say Anthony and I think Star Trek, I always want to go Montgomery, but this is Anthony Rapp, who we love. Anthony Rapp posted something that maybe if you got, I retweeted it. Out of the 95 years of the Oscars, she is only the second woman of color to win. Halle Berry was the other one. So many. Oh, thank you, Lasso. I knew you would agree about Stanny. So many amazing performances over the 95 years of Oscars, and only twice for a woman of color. And Michelle deserves every kudo that she gets. Anthony Rapp called her magnificent, and I completely 100% agreed with him. So of course he liked the comment. We love you, Anthony. Anthony's play, by the way, love how I riff. Anthony's one-man play has gotten extended, which is why he will not be attending Trek Long Island. They were actually hoping to get him, but maybe next year, unless his play gets extended more. But I'm glad his play got extended. It gives me more time to get tickets because I can't wait. I can't wait to go see him in New York. Yeah, so like I said, Connor was actually in an Oscar-nominated movie, even if it was only for 5 seconds, he was still in it. Michelle Ye absolutely deserved everything she got. The Indiana Jones, it was definitely, yes, roses for Michelle. I love that. Like I said, I mean, this is just me catching up. Exactly. Been overlooked. So many incredible, stellar performances. So which is why, like, I mean, yeah, and they're never going to be able to make up for it. I mean, you passed these people over the course of 94 years. You've passed them over. There's no way you're going to make up for it. It's just a case of do better. So, and it looks like they're definitely, recognizing that in themselves. The Academy's recognizing that. But all right. So what else? Oh, we could talk about Picard. If Mark wants to put his fingers in his ears, because I don't know if he's caught up. But no-win scenario. Nobody likes a Kobayashi Maru. And this was a very interesting no-win scenario. And obviously, Picard and Kirk have that in common. Thankfully, nobody said, I don't believe in it. Yes, she is Reed as well as Rad, Mark. Absolutely. Gates is in there. Gates, of course, is on my list. Picard is so fantastic. The no-win scenario is interesting when you think it's a no-win scenario and then you watch them make it not a no-win scenario. For anybody that doesn't know, there is a Star Trek Enterprise novel called Kobayashi Maru where we all get to find out why it's a Kobayashi Maru. Like, why is the no-win scenario Kobayashi Maru? So don't want to spoil that either if you have not read it yet. It's one of the really good Star Trek novels, and I love that it explains where Kobayashi Maru came from. Let's see. Oh, the one thing I was waiting for was for Beverly to finally say, oh, by the way, I know why there's biological energy in these lightning strikes. Obviously, they were laying the groundwork for something. I love how it twisted itself back onto Farpoint. Out of everything that they could have picked, they picked Farpoint to reference. But I mean, and then the little babies ended up looking almost like better versions of the jellyfish creatures from Farpoint. I thought that was funny. The other thing I thought was interesting is that you do find out why Jack never had any desire to meet his father. And I thought that was fantastic. Wait, let's see. I was halfway hoping the nebula was another entity like not God from... Oh, yeah. Can I borrow your starfish? Flying jellyfish. Yes! The ones that had great joy and gratitude at the end. That is like the worst line. Poor Marina. That line. Great joy and... Yes. I guess Mark is caught up. If this is your way of telling me that I'm not spoiling anything for you, I appreciate it. The only family I ever needed. And... Oh, well, there you go. I was sitting downstairs in my recliner, but yeah, for him to say that, and then the look on his face at the end when he realized that he said that to his son, even though he didn't know. Yay, not spoiling it for you. Oh, look, Erica. Thanks, Erica. Same to you. That's awesome. Thanks for popping in. But I think the other thing too is that not only did it do a disservice to Jack, but remember how close he was to his nephew? Remember how devastated he was when his nephew died? For him to say that, I think kind of stomps on that as well. No, see, I think he did. I think he did. Because it was incredibly sad, and I think he meant it, because it was the look on his face when he realized that when he answered that question, he answered it to Jack. I think the look on his face says it all. I think he meant it exactly the way he said it, that Starfleet's all the family he's ever needed. And nope. I don't know. If he meant it that way, if he was just playing to the crowd because, he wants all these cadets, which then, okay, well then let's look at it this way. I think they did because that was the only thing that would have kept him in the Nexus. I think they needed it for the plot line, because if they hadn't killed his family off, what reason would he have for wanting to stay in the Nexus? Because at one point he was questioning leaving, and he needed Guinan to help him. So that entire Nexus thing wouldn't have worked if they hadn't done it that way. So it was part of the plot. It really doesn't, because this is my show. See, now if you were saying this on the Shuttle Pod show and Mark was talking to you, then yeah, but it's my show. So no, sorry. He does put up his walls. But like I said, even if he was playing to the crowd, let's say he was playing to the crowd. Then he's doing a disservice to every single one of those cadets that was talking to him, because now basically he's saying, you don't need anything else in your life. You don't need, I get that, Seven. Trust me, I get that. Too soon, Mark, too soon. No, but all right, let's say he was just playing to the crowd. Then he's doing all those cadets a disservice, making them think that they don't need to have a life outside of Starfleet. So either way, he shouldn't have said it. Whether he was just playing to the crowd. You got it, girl. Especially that northeast coast, right? Maybe. But he shouldn't have said it on any level. Saying it, trying to convince yourself, great, but you've just said it to a bunch of impressionable kids that are obviously there to do some hero worship. So now they're all going to think that they don't need any family outside of Starfleet. He accidentally ends up saying it to his son, which, yeah, I know he didn't know it was his son. And he's got a dead brother and a dead nephew that he adored, that he just said it, and it feels like he's walking, he's trampling on their grave. So he should never have said it. And I stand by that. For whatever reason, whether he meant it, didn't mean it, was playing to the crowd, however he meant it, wasn't the right thing to say, because I can pick it apart on any level. Yeah. Okay, let's see. I'm a little worried about the vision Jack had. We've had such a great run. I'm afraid they could still mess it up. Well, I guess we're all going to find out. Because Picard, we all know Picard is not episodic. Picard is serialized. So this is, I like how they kind of finished, they finished this piece, and now we're going to move on. Dude, at the end, it was like the last thing. What did you do? Shut it off before the end, where he was washing his face in the sink? Somebody help Mark out. Yeah, exactly. And people, yep, finding Jack. Thank you, Seven. Appreciate it. All of that, Mark. Did you miss it? Oh, Erica's watching Picard. That's awesome. No, he wasn't drugged. He was having visions. Wasn't drugged. He was having it. Wasn't the gas Last episode anyway. Yeah, no, I think, yeah. So, all right. So we're going to find out where that goes. Like I said, I've liked, you know, me and pacing. I've liked the pacing of the show. I like how we sort of tied one thing up and now we're ready to move on to the next thing. Of course, we're waiting. Definitely want more Worf. Waiting to see everybody else. I need my Imzadi fix. I don't have enough of them. I don't have enough of an Imzadi fix yet, but hopefully that's coming. All right. So moving on to I love how I haven't even gotten to the topic yet, and we've just been chatting for half an hour. This is so awesome. I love you guys so much. All right. So Women of Trek. I mean, let's start with there would be no Star Trek if it wasn't for one of the queens of Hollywood herself, Lucille Ball. Yes, Rafi and Worf are going to be an amazing, amazing pairing. I knew what you meant. I've got your back, Erica. You know that. Lucille Ball saved it. Now, what's interesting is let's start with Lucille Ball saved it. We all know that's how it got its second incarnation. But one of the things that changed, I mean, besides the cast, except for Leonard, one of the things that changed between the first pilot and the second pilot was that now Spock is the first officer, whereas in the original, The Cage, he had a female first officer, as we all know, played by Majel Barrett, and obviously has now is being played with perfection by Rebecca Romijn. Aw, thanks, Mark. Appreciate that. She made sure Trek would be here today. Powerhouse of Bit. Yes, she was. She was the brains. If anybody has not watched Lucy and Desi on Amazon, you really should. It's so good. The one with Nicole Kidman is so amazing. So amazing. I know very little about Mark or Erica, so I'm super excited for her to be your guest. Oh, thanks, Seven. Yes, you're going to find out all about Erica and everything she's done and does and has plans for. So Majel Barrett played the first Mark. No spoilers if she comes on the show. Just, keep it surface. Keep people interested. Go pre-sell my show. So one of the things that I think Roddenberry felt like 60s television wasn't ready for was a female second in command. So that's why now Spock becomes second in command instead of a woman as second in command. And then we had to wait, 50 plus years, and now we've got that. But instead of having a woman as a second in command, he still put a strong woman on the bridge. She was an officer. She was a woman of color. And as Whoopi Goldberg says, she wasn't no maid. As Whoopi Goldberg has said time and time again, it's one of the reasons that she felt like she could get into the business was because Nichelle Nichols was on as an officer. She wasn't portrayed as weak or simple. She was you found out she was incredibly intelligent. She spoke languages. She was a communications officer. She was of vital importance to the running of that ship. Right out of the gate, Gene Roddenberry was showing strong women. Now, granted, there were some. He did play into the 60s era women. I mean, we all saw Mudd's women. We all saw the scantily clad aliens. We all saw Kirk and his woman of the week. So there definitely was still the stereotype of the mid 60s with Kirk being the Lothario, I think is the word. I don't know. And all of that. So they did play into some stereotypes. But as Nancy pointed out, then you have Spock's mother, Amanda, who had to be a very strong woman. She was straddling two cultures, because she married a Vulcan, but she was human, and I think it does take a lot of strength to deal with somebody that's never going to tell you out loud that they love you. You're going to spend your life with somebody and they're going to hide their emotions from you, and you have to be secure in yourself. Oh, it's true. We always did call them girls. Good point, Nancy. Very good point. Like I said, there was a lot of 60s stereotyping. But then, like I said, you've got Amanda. She has to be so secure in herself and how Sarek feels about her to accept that she was married to somebody that was probably almost never say never, almost never going to say how he felt or that he loved her. Not all of them. I mean, yeah, Carol Marcus. Well, we had to wait. We had to wait until Wrath of Khan to find out that the woman that fathered his child, or the woman that fathered, the woman, Carol Marcus, the woman that was mother to his child, was a scientist and incredibly smart. But I mean, they mixed in a couple. But I mean, but again, these were women. These were strong women, and they were falling for the handsome captain of the ship. So there was definitely still that level of, oh, here's the guy. Oh my God, he's so handsome. I can't help myself. But then they gave you, and then might not have been able to give you a captain of a human ship, but as Janine herself has pointed out, the Romulan commander in the Enterprise incident, she was never was a Boy Scout. Speaking of Wrath of Khan, he has a girl on every planet. He is a player. In fact, I think the Roddenberrys have a parody song about that. But the Romulan commander, there you go. Romulans had no problems putting women on the bridge and making them commanders, giving orders, being strong. So it's like, if I can't do it, I love that. And that's the great thing about science fiction. And when I asked Connor this question in New Jersey, at the last New Jersey science fiction thing that Creation did a couple years ago, and I asked Connor what genre he likes working in the best, he said science fiction. And it was for this reason, because when you have other dramas, when you have like a police procedural or you have a medical drama, you're locked into a certain box. I mean, you might be able to shade a little outside the lines, but and science fiction, there is no box. The only box is your imagination. So it's really easy to be like, all right, maybe you guys aren't ready for a human female captain, but I'll give you a Romulan one, because what are you going to do? It's another culture. It's a little, makes a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. So that was the spoonful of sugar. It's like, oh, she's Romulan, but look, she's a woman. So he did work that in. And then you flash ahead to Star Trek Next Generation. First thing he does, all right, you guys still might not be ready for a woman captain, but how about a female security officer that kicks ass on a regular basis? Survived. She is a survivor. That is the first thing you find out. She is a survivor of a hellish childhood. And she is strong because of it. And she does not play the victim. She uses it. It gives her strength. She is a survivor. And the fact that Denise decided to leave after one season, and he really, and I get why he put Worf in that position. It made sense at the time, and I get it. It's just sad that he wasn't able to put another woman in that position, because Tasha's 1 year there, I think, just really spoke volumes. Having her be the head of security, I think that was fantastic. I think that was really well done. And then you've got Beverly, who, as Mark mentioned earlier, is going to be their guest on the show this Sunday, which means you have until Wednesday, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, to think and submit your questions for Gates McFadden on the Shuttlepod show this week. So get your questions ready, because Beverly, there you go, a woman of science, chief medical officer. They fleshed out her character. They gave her that really great backstory with Picard. They gave her a son. You watch her juggle her responsibilities as a doctor, as a chief medical, as a doctor, as an officer, as a mom, and you get to. It is not bad form to ask her about the name of the episode is Sub Rosa. It is not bad form, because she has embraced the sex ghost. She has completely embraced that episode. So if you want to ask her anything about Sub Rosa, go ahead. She's completely embraced it. In fact, I should get somebody to ask her to bring that ghost candle with her. I'll mention it to the Lambda Quadrant crew, because I mentioned it last week. Lambda Quadrant 3D printed her a full-sized ghost candle, and she carried it on stage for her panel in Las Vegas last year. So she hasn't completely embraced it. Yes. Yeah. If there's nothing wrong with me, then there must be something wrong with the universe. Was an absolutely fantastic episode. Again, Trek was a really great way to introduce strong female characters. Then you had you oh, I didn't put this in my notes. I did forget to mention. Let us also not forget that by the time the original motion picture rolled around, Chapel was now a doctor. So that was the other thing. It's like, oh, it's the 70s now. Guess what? You can have female doctors. Let's promote Chapel. So no, she was no longer Nurse Chapel. She was Dr. Chapel, which I loved. Troy was a little more of, I mean, they made her a counselor. They made her an empath. So they are kind of playing into some of the female tropes. But again, you watched her character development and you watched her go, you know what? I don't want this honorary title anymore. Up. There you go. There you go. That's right. She did. I remember that. You got to watch her evolution. She became more than what she had been. Troy started as the soft, warm, shoulder to cry on the empath. Like I said, I think one of the worst lines that they ever gave her was "great joy and gratitude" at the end of Farpoint. Just because the way she delivered it and everything. I still love her. I've always wanted the Imzadi relationship to work out. So the fact that that's still a thing in Picard is probably one of my favorite things. But by the time the first movie rolled around, she was flying the ship. Granted, she crashed it, but you got to watch her evolve and got to watch her go, you know what? This honorary thing isn't working for me. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do it right. I want to be a lieutenant. I want to be more than I am. I'm going to improve myself. So that was a great story arc for her. I did too. It is still my favorite Star Trek novel. Did you know that there was a sequel, Imzadi 2, which brought Thomas Riker back? So that was pretty cool too. And then by the time she had that arc in the series after Jellicoe where she improved herself to increase her rank. Yeah, exactly. She realized that there was more to life than just being the ship's counselor. Yes, that's right. Yes, Imzadi 2. It's out there. Go find it. I promise it exists. That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, and nobody wanted to take her seriously when she was in command. They're like, "You're in command," and she's like, and then they kept trying to tell her what to do, and she's like, "F off. I'm in command, so I'm going to do this." So yeah, she got stronger. Her character definitely got fleshed out as the series went on. And then finally we get to Deep Space Nine, and they're like, "Okay, I guess we're all ready. It's the 90s. We must be ready for a female second in command." So here we are, Kira Nerys, an incredibly strong woman, a leader in a resistance, dealing with her own demons, well thought out character. And not to top that off, you had Jadzia, again, STEM, science. She was all about the sciences, incredibly intelligent woman, outside of being the Dax. Outside way with a literal terrorist as a main character in TV today. I don't know what I mean. Between the FBI's and the Equalizer, I've seen some terrorist guest starring things. I'm not sure if you're talking about like a terrorist as like a recurring character, probably not. But yes, they were incredibly strong women from different sides of the spectrum. Kira's experiences as a resistance fighter and Jadzia's Kira was intelligent, but Jadzia was intelligent in a different way. Jadzia was incredibly book smart. So you've got two strong female characters. I mean, and then you find out Jadzia is not only book smart, but she can hold a bat'leth. Then you get to see her relationship with the Klingons. Jadzia was like every strong woman after 800 years worth. Yeah, she's like every strong woman you could ever imagine. Between her physical strength and her intelligence and everything else she had going for her. And then you get the last season and along comes Ezri, and you get to see another type of female strength where Ezri tries to find herself. And that, she doesn't crawl in a corner. First of all, she went and did something that she wasn't ever expecting to do. She joined. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Terry was freaking phenomenal. The one thing I will say as an aside, and I don't want to I don't want to dwell on this, but Star Trek as a show and stories had more respect for strong women than Star Trek behind the scenes as a production house, because both Gates and Terry had issues being strong women behind the camera. So I just wanted to put that out there, that what you saw on screen was amazing. What was happening behind the scenes, not so much. I'd like to think that production has come a long way since then, but back then there was definitely much more representation and better things on screen. Yes, Travis, Esri was amazing because, like I said, she opted to do something she never thought she'd do. She saved Dax's life. She joined. Now she's having a freaking identity crisis because she was not trained. She had no idea what to expect, and they basically threw her in the deep end. And watching her struggle to find herself is a different kind of strength, because she could have crawled off in a corner. She could have said, get this thing out of me, get me, go find me somebody else. Let's get them, no, she's like, this is the path, and I am going to find myself, and I am going to stay on this path. And this is who I am now. And it was very moving. And Esri actually became she became a symbol for a lot of trans people back when the show first aired, because a lot of trans people back then identified with Esri and her identity crisis, and trying to come to grips with who she really was. And Nicole wears that very proudly. She's very proud to have been that symbol back in the 90s when it was so hard for the trans community. And like I said, I texted Nicole. I don't know. I'm hoping that she'll have a free Monday, but I know how busy she is, and she did just come back from the cruise a week ago. So cross your fingers, but if I can get her on, I mean, even if she can't do this month, I'd love to have her on for this month, as it is Women's History Month. But obviously, y'all know I would take her any day that works into her schedule. So it took a very long time. It took 1, 2, 3. It took 4, technically 5, because we're gonna count the animated series. It took 5 shows because we didn't get a female captain until the 6th show. And along comes Janeway, and we all know I do not like Voyager. I'm not a huge fan of Voyager, but they did put a female in the captain's chair, and that was really important. The Janeway character never resonated with me, but I respect Janeway, and I respect what they did, and I respected that it was about fucking time that they did this, and that that their main character was a woman in command, not partially, not temporarily, not, oh my gosh, the captain's wounded, but here she is. And, and then she had to deal with the Maquis coming on. I mean, they threw a lot at Janeway, and they showed, again, I can't speak to that, Seven. That is a really interesting observation. I am not versed enough in Voyager to take that one way or the other. If anybody else wants to talk to Seven about that, I don't know. What I liked, of course, again, was when they showed her, again, not that whole women can have it all, but that any human being is well-rounded. They have their work life and their private life and their home life. There's different facets to everybody. Nobody, and again, this is also why I have a problem with him saying Starfleet's the only family you need. But to show that, she missed, I don't even know if it was boyfriend, fiance. I know they weren't married, but to be missing him, and to have her issues with being away from somebody that she loved, and commanding the ship, and being responsible for all these lives to get them all home, and then, let's throw the Borg Queen in the mix. Her fiance, thank you, fiance, and her dogs. Yes, she missed her dog. I think she missed the dog having puppies. I think that was something she had mentioned at some point. You have the Borg Queen, and I mean, let's face it, she's badass. She's a badass baddie. And then they introduced Seven of Nine, who, again, you get to watch a woman having to be strong and come to terms with loss, because she lost her collective, and you get her to watch her discover herself, and the fact that they've continued her journey into Picard was amazing. That we get to see that she's still not there yet. She's still, people call her Commander Hansen, but Ensign LaForge calls her Commander Seven out of respect, because Seven embraces that part of her. She's not shying away from her life as a Borg. She's embracing it. She's embracing it better than Jean-Luc ever did. But then, which is interesting, he has so many problems. Like, Locutus still haunts him. Whereas Seven, who was a Borg a whole hell of a lot longer and has done worse, has really come to terms, I think, better than, and I believe I believe that's a lot of it. She doesn't believe she believes Annika kind of died or did die when she was assimilated. I agree with that. But Seven has really come to terms more with being a Borg than Picard has. Whether Picard ever will come to terms with it, who knows? He had to face it again. I don't know, Tiffany, especially since I posted in the Discord, my love, but you're here, and that's what's important. She embraces being a Borg who's been turned into this person rather than turning back into Annika. I like that. Yep, I believe that too. Maybe one night we're going to have a trivia contest here on my show. Just another round of trivia between Tiffany and Mark. I don't know. I would think being assimilated that young. Hey, Slack Twaddle, welcome. Canada in the house. I would think she would have more of a problem leaving the Borg behind as an adult, because it's the only life she knew. Whereas Picard was only a Borg for a very short amount of time. I don't know. But I think with Picard, there's a lot of guilt that's involved that I think Seven came to terms with better than Picard has. My brain is mush from sewing. Okay. All right. I will give you that. After the 25th, though, hopefully your brain will return to more fully functional. Hi, Travis. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. So, the other, and of course we've got B'Elanna Torres, who, again, it seems, as I'm sitting here talking, I'm realizing there seems to be a thread with the strong women, where it seems like all the really, at least one, and I'm sorry, I'm getting hot in here, so forgive me, but this is my Chateau Picard tank top. In case you guys, I know you guys can't really see it, but it is a Chateau Picard tank top. But my Enterprise sweat jacket was getting a little warm. It was freezing in here when I started. It was completely freezing in here when I started. But as I'm talking, I'm sensing this theme of women in identity crisis. As I talk, I'm realizing every really strong woman character, at least one of them in the series, had to deal with some sort of figuring out who they were. And it always seemed like the guys, for the most part, had it figured out. So I don't know what that says about the Star Trek writers. Hey, Linda. I don't know what that says about the Star Trek writers, but now that I'm sitting here talking, I'm like, is that the only way they thought they could show female characters, like strong female characters, is, they always have to find themselves, and they find strength in finding themselves. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that women can show strength, and finding themselves isn't the only thing. And as I am sitting here talking to you about all these women, B'Elanna coming to grips with being human and Klingon, and Seven having identity issues, and Ezri having identity issues. Deanna didn't have an identity crisis, but she did, so that doesn't, but now I'm like looking at this like, wait a minute. But then, I mean, even T'Pol had issues between the Trellium D and the serving with humans. I think she was having existential crises of her own as well. So, but So, but T'Pol was a great character. I mean, woman, Vulcan. She had a lot of facets. Let's see. And Hoshi invented the Universal Translator. She was an actual accomplished linguist. She had to be an actual linguist. She didn't have the UT to fall back on. She invented the UT. She worked on the UT. So the first one of color to go to space, May Jane. Yes. Yes. That was awesome. Thank you for reminding me about that. Mae Jemison. Yeah, she invented it. She did that. She invented the Matrix. Mark, did you not know that Hoshi was the reason we had a universal translator? She's the one that worked on the Matrix. Go back and watch Broken Bow. Did you miss that? We were all together watching it. Did you completely miss that part? Anyway. Listen, if I'm wrong, but I am pretty sure she's the one that worked on the Matrix and had to get that puppy up and running when yeah. That's why the whole thing wasn't working quite right when they were talking to Clang on the ship. Mark, maybe Linda shouldn't come on your show now until you straighten that out. Yes, she did. She had the Pinar syndrome. She invented it. She's the one that put the matrix, the linguistic matrix together. She's the one that put the linguistic matrix together. Go watch Broken Bow. Just saying, go watch Broken Bow. I'm pretty sure that she's, or look it up on what is it, Memory Alpha. But yeah, I'm pretty damn sure. Somebody else can look that up because, oh my gosh, I am not doing that. You guys don't. I'm not in the mood for you guys to watch my resting research face. But if somebody wants to correct me, and I'm wrong, I've always said, yeah, I mean, I've seen it 112 times too, but, yes, Empress Sato was pretty bad. But you know what? It's that 101st watching where you're going to find that one thing that you missed. Empress Sato was badass. That was her best episode. She was underutilized, and that was her best episode. Was the In a Mirror Darkly 2-parter. For me, that was her best episode. And now that we've got, Disco, Burnham right out of the gate. But again, she was straddling those two worlds of Vulcan and human. The mind behind critical breakthrough in the development of the Universal Translator. Thank you, Seven. The mind behind the critical breakthroughs. So to me, that says invented the Universal Translator. Breakthroughs in the development means development of the Universal Translator. Thank you, Seven. Yeah, she invented it. Breakthrough, critical breakthroughs. Critical breakthroughs in the development of. I think that's invented. I'm just saying. I stick by what I said. But Mark, you can have your win too. That's fine. But East Coast says I'm going with invented. But now we've got Burnham, and again, she's got those. That's funny. I love it. So again, my show. So, Mark, I still owe you a hat. I do. I have. There you go. I'll make one for myself on Teespring. Okay. I should think of a really good East Coast NX7062 and make the t-shirt. Yes, exactly. It's pretty great. Still, it is pretty great. I agree. Thanks. I'm not sure I would call. I know a lot of people don't like Discovery for whatever reasons. I'm not sure controversial is the right word. I know I'm probably in the minority. I am okay that they're canceling it after the 5th season. I've felt like it's jumped the shark, so I am actually okay with it. And I'm ready for whatever new Trek is down the pike. And listen, we've got Strange New Worlds, which I absolutely, absolutely adore. But the other thing I want to mention, I mean, they have so many amazing, strong female characters and non-binary characters. Disco has a lot of strong characters across the board. Female admirals. I don't feel bad. I can never. Jane Brooks, the one that Jane Brooks played, and I can't remember her name, and I feel bad about that. But what I think the biggest breakthrough for women representation came in Disco with Mary Weissman, who was, thank you, Cornwell Travis, thanks, who was not a size 2, who was not somebody that you would see running around in, that with a mini skirt necessarily. Not the female body image that everybody has in Trek, thanks once again to the 1960s and up through with cat suits, and thank you, Enterprise, women running around in their underwear and showing off their midriffs and all of this other, perfect bodies. And along comes Mary Wiseman, who is completely realistic, who is not a size 2, who does her job fabulously, who is just an amazing character. And lo and behold, you don't have to be a size 2 to serve on a Starfleet ship. And I think that is fabulous. And Mary is an amazing human being. She is so much fun. I've had the pleasure of meeting her a couple of times. Her husband, Noah, is also somebody I've been talking to about getting on the show. And we kind of lost touch, but Noah's great. Love them both. If Tilly wanted to rock a mini skirt, I would not object. So I love that. That was a big breakthrough, I think, for them to say, listen, you know what? Yes, Captain Killy. Absolutely. She was great. That whole mirror universe. I mean, Michelle Yeoh, who we were talking about at the beginning of the show, Michelle Yeoh is fan-damn-tastic. I would look terrible in a Starfleet uniform. Well, you know what though, Mark? If we put you in a red shirt, you wouldn't have to worry about it for very long, would ya? Anyway, love you, Mark. So I think Disco broke down a lot of those barriers. And you know what? She got body shamed for it, and it was disgusting, and it was I couldn't help it. You set yourself up. Mark. So, sorry. Sorry, not sorry. She got body shamed for it, and she went right through it, and Disco kept writing for her, and for all we know, there's a Tilly show in the works. Because I thought I had heard maybe something, with her and the Starfleet trainees and everything, because she turns out she's a fabulous teacher. So, and then we get Strange New Worlds comes along, and we finally get to see Gene Roddenberry's original concept, in a way, come to fruition. And we get to see Una. We get to see the original number 1 that he envisioned come up. We have not talked about Philippa. I do love her. It's just I do love her. Mirror Georgiou is my favorite character. She is absolutely 100% probably my favorite character of new era Trek. I could do an entire show just on Mirror Philippa, and the fact that when she first gets to the future, one of the first things she says references In a Mirror Darkly. I seriously could do an entire show on her. She is fantastic. It's almost like, yay, they killed her original character off in the beginning, because they brought us something even better. They brought us an emperor. The only thing that really saddens me is everybody that was whispering that she was a descendant of Emperor Sato, and they never fleshed that out. Just another reason why it would be really nice if they took the Section 31 spinoff that they keep talking about, that they mothballed. I would love to see them take it out of mothballs. L'Rell, yes, the mother of all Klingons. Absolutely. And Mary Chieffo is another fan-fucking-tastic human. Her and her partner, who I've met and absolutely adore, Maddie, who is an incredible talent in her own right. Yeah, that's what a lot of people are saying. They just can't afford her right now. Which wouldn't surprise me. Maybe they should just make a movie. Make a movie. Just make a movie. But leave it to Robert to bring up the mother of all Klingons. Robert being the Klingon that he is. So thank you for reminding me about L'Rell, because but that's the other thing. I mean, if you want to just talk about the way that the women were represented in the Klingon Empire, just across the board, that they are equal to their men, and and they fight their men, and they handle bat less, and they go into battle. That said a lot. But again, it's like, it's almost like they're sneaking that shit in with different cultures. They're like, well, we can do it with the aliens, but we're not sure if people are ready to watch the human females do it. But yeah, let's do it. Let's do it with the aliens. I mean, look at the way because then you got the flip side. Because then you got the way the Ferengis look at the women, naked and can't do business, don't have the lobes for business. Yeah, the women were a little sexier because, sex. Female women, like, boobs sell. That's why boobs sell more than pecs. Let's face it. But that was the thing about Deep Space Nine, was you had incredibly strong women, and then and then we learned through TNG and then carried over to Deep Space Nine that Ferengi treated their women like crap. Ooh. Virtual background shut down. That's really interesting. So you guys are getting to see this mess. What's sex? Let me see if I can get this started, because I really didn't want you guys to ever. Let's see. Virtual background. Let's see if we can bring it back. Ooh, it's like really down. Wow. All right, so I am not using anything else. That is so weird. I am not using anything else. But all right, so this is my office. It is an absolute disaster area. Oh, but wait. Now that green screen's down, see, this is the VCR game, right? That you were talking about earlier. Now I can show it to you because the green screen's down. So I just wanted to get that on camera real quick, since we talked about it earlier. Shouldn't be dropping that either. Hold on. When you have animals in your house, things on the floor are in more danger than stuff. So yeah, Garon. Yes. Oh, Mark, did you miss that part? The VCR game? Yeah, his face was all over that VCR game. Oh my God. Yeah, Tiffany, you missed it. I bought 2 for somebody because I found them at my comic shop. And I live in a Star Trek desert, because most of the stuff that ends up in my comic book shop for Star Trek never leaves, which is great for me because I can go in and get it. Well, thanks, Travis. It's good to know that I'm not the only person that keeps a terrible office. I mean, I really do need to empty my trash can. He's a Klingon, but not Gowron in that. It's so much fun. Oh my gosh, that is so funny. Like I said, those are not for me to play with, so I did not even know that, but that's awesome. The number between 5 and 7 is very funny. Skimmed through the VHS tape on YouTube and had a nostalgic trip. Aww. Aww, that's awesome. I love nostalgia. I am such a nostalgia hound. I feel like, oh my God, I don't know. I mean, I actually do have another way to turn on my background, but I think I'd lose you all, so I'm not going to do it. All right, so we've talked about L'Rell. We've talked about Strange New Worlds, how we got Una back. Plus, you got to see the beginnings of Uhura. Plus, you got to see they've set up, so many other amazing female characters in Strange New Worlds. It's kind of like, in a way, now we all know George Lucas fucked up a lot when he decided to redo the original trilogy and add stuff in. But you understand the desire now that there's better CGI. He's got Industrial Lights and Magic. He's got all this stuff. He's like, I want to try and make Star Wars the way that I envisioned it in 76, but couldn't. Which I think is a lot of what Strange New Worlds is like, this is what Gene's original vision was for Star Trek. And it just wasn't possible in the day. It was too cerebral, the woman as a first officer. So I like the fact that they've gone back to do it And hopefully it's something that would have made Gene happy to kind of see his original vision finally, or at least his original characters, a younger Spock and a Pike, and things are finally getting fleshed out with that story that never really got told. Nurse Chapel. Yes, Nurse Chapel. I have a problem with the Chapel storyline, though, because for all of you that know, my favorite TOS episode is Amok Time, and they've completely foobarred Amok Time by bringing T'Pring into this whole thing. I'm just saying they messed with literally my favorite Star Trek episode. Probably of... That's tough. It's up there with all my Enterprise stuff. Ortega is absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. Snark. I am all about the snark. One of my favorite snarky shows is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And one of the reasons I love it is all the snark. I like the pirate captain in it, but I can't remember their gender. When you can't remember somebody's gender, you just say they. That's how that works. Doesn't matter. I'm not sure I'm not sure they ever clarified the gender. So if you don't know the gender, then they is the most acceptable way to go. Something I've learned from being in Lambda Quadrant. You're just safer saying they than assuming one way or the other if you're not sure. In fact, I was just watching Buffy before I clicked in tonight. So that was yeah, so snark. I'm all about the snark. That's where we were going with that. Love the snark. You guys have any other female characters you want to chat about? Like I said, I'm going to try and maybe see about getting some females on. Mark, scroll back. Erica LaRose. Mark, I said this earlier to the Twitter feed. You are so biased. The entire Shuttlepod show is so biased. Section 31. Oh, I like Robert's grapevine. Heard through the grapevine. Section 31 is still going to happen and include Worf and Raffi, but have yet to figure out how they're going to. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Oh, Lasso. Yes, Wonder Woman, and we did figure out ways that Wonder Woman is totally related to Star Trek. Mark Alaimo, for those of you that missed that show, Mark Alaimo was in a 2-part episode of Wonder Woman in the 3rd season called Phantom of the Roller Coaster. Lasso, tell me if I got that title right, but it was Phantom of the Roller Coaster. It had the kid from the Escape from Witch Mountain movies. All the Witch Mountain movies had that kid and had Mark Alaimo. It took me a while to realize that it was Mark Alaimo because he didn't look like a Cardassian. But so that ties Wonder Woman directly to Star Trek. Speaking of female characters, here we go. I posted a little while ago, the Superman collection is coming out all redone in 4K. It's coming out April 18th, so just a little over a month. I am so incredibly, incredibly excited. Yay! Okay, so if that was the last episode that aired, but then there was the one with the guy that couldn't die where she had already moved to California. So was that supposed to be the first episode of the season that never happened? Because that was the whole thing, was her moving to California. And the one with the guy that couldn't die obviously happened after the roller coaster because she was moving into her new house in California. So somebody explain that to me, Lasso. Let's see. Okay. So, all right. So anyway, Superman. And I had mentioned when I posted it that I wanted to try a good way to tie in Superman to Star Trek. And using the actors, and I had completely forgotten, and I could have knocked myself in the head for forgetting. Margot Kidder's niece played the Orion Syndicate leader in, what was that, the 3rd season of Discovery? She was in the 3rd season of Discovery. She played the Orion Syndicate leader, and her death was straight out of Superman 3. And you're not going to convince me. You are not going to convince me otherwise. There we go. Thanks, Travis. Osira. There we go. Thanks, Robert. Yep, Osira's Margot Kidder's niece. And for those of you that don't know, I am going to be really disappointed, but Margot Kidder played Lois Lane in she was a badass, and that's actually going to lead me back to another female thing that I liked about Star Trek. But she was very badass. Her Aunt Margot was Lois Lane in all of the original 4 Superman movies, even though she was only in 3 for the opening and the end. And then, what death in Superman 3? What death in Superman 3? The buried alive part. No. Boss Ross's sister. Well, she didn't die, I guess. She didn't die. She got sucked into the computer and then turned into the computer thing. So yeah, I guess she didn't. Osira died, but computer chick didn't die. The sister. What the hell was her name? His baby sister. Like, I can hear lines from the damn movie in my head. Oh god, now I can't remember what her name was. But yeah, she didn't die. Osira died. But in Superman 3 she didn't die, but getting sucked into the computer was exactly what happened to Osira. Same. So much the same. Buried alive. See, now you got me. Who was buried alive in Superman 3? I don't think anybody was. I mean, the thing exploded and came down. See, now you got me thinking Superman. The thing exploded and came down on everybody. Lois Lane wasn't in Superman 3. That was Superman. That was the original Superman. That was Superman 1. Superman 3, she wasn't in it. She was in the very beginning and she was in it at the very end. She didn't want to be a part of it. So she was in it at the beginning, and then, gee, Clark, some of us get to go all the way to Smallville while others of us get to go to Bermuda. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, that was Superman 1. He was talking about Superman 3. Superman 1 is where she was buried alive. Superman 2, Zod got buried in the ice. So did actually all of them. And then 3, nobody got buried alive. Ask Lasso. Going up against me with Superman stuff, it's really risky. It's like going up against Tiffany in Star Trek trivia. But the point I wanted to make about the Orions, is that there you go. Yeah. So the point I wanted to make about the Orions, for all of Star Trek up until Enterprise, everybody figured that the Orions were slave girls, that they were just sex objects. That's how they were set up from the very beginning. From the Cage episode, all the way up to Whom Gods Destroy, which was the Yvonne Craig turn as an Orion slave girl. But then you have Bound, which is one of my favorite Enterprise episodes, where you find out that whole yes, it was absolutely brilliant retcon. I agree. You find out it's all a ruse, and they're the ones that run everything, and they just use their pheromones and their sexuality to rule men, to rule themselves. I liked how they retconned that. I loved how they explained the whole Klingons not having ridges. I think Enterprise did a really good job, filling Star Trek holes. And the fact that they turned the Orion slave girl thing completely on its ear, I think was an amazing, brilliant idea. But like I said, I'm still trying to figure out if there's other ways that Superman is related to Star Trek besides Margot Kidder's niece. I'm sure that between all of the 4 original terrible movies, or the 4 original movies, the last 2 that were terrible, the first 2 that were amazing, plus the Richard Donner cut of the second movie, I will figure it out. Maybe it will just take me spending a weekend with my Blu-rays when I get them. There's an Amazon exclusive. They just haven't started the pre-sale yet. There's an Amazon exclusive, and they haven't started the pre-sale yet. But hopefully when they do, I will be able to get that. So speaking of Amazon, see, I mentioned Amazon for a reason. For those of you that know, I have an Amazon wish list. For those of you that don't know, I have an Amazon wish list. And the new microphone, these gorgeous headsets, and the video camera that I am talking to you on were all gifts from supporters, people that grabbed them off of my Amazon wish list. And again, so much appreciation to everybody. Dave and Nancy. And and the screen. The War Dog got me the frame that this is sitting on. So, I appreciate everything from everybody. And I found one more thing that I need. For those of you that know, I am going on the road. I am taking the show on the road next month. I was invited to Quiet Corner, which is a very small sci-fi gathering. They invited the podcast to come up. War Dog. Yep. They invited the podcast to come up. I am so excited. I am so incredibly excited to go up for my first convention ever as the podcast. Yeah, he didn't green screen me. He green screen framed me. I have it. I had this. I just needed a better backing for it. So he got me this, which I love. And it's coming in very handy, except for right now when the thing is off. So they invited me to come up. So, Domestic got me the video camera, which got its first use when I was at Shuttlepod Show Live, and it didn't work out so well because my stupid computer died, but it was a great test. It was a great run, and it was a great test. So things I found out I needed: a Surface Pro, because it's a small little laptop. It's literally a laptop that's tablet sized. And since I like my Windows, great. So for those of you that were having mimosas with me last Sunday, the Surface Pro got to work out with the camera, and it works. And I am so excited. The only challenge is that because the little hub has to now charge the camera, the battery dies. So I need a battery pack to take the entire show on the road to make sure that if I'm not near a plug, then I'm not going to run into an issue where my battery dies. So I have one more little thing on my wish list. It's a battery pack. I just need that to go on the road. And for those of you that don't know this either, I lost my job last week. So otherwise I wouldn't be asking, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, I lost my regular job, which just gives me more time to work on Shuttlepod Show stuff and NX7062 stuff. I'm not gonna lie, I do like being able to do that. But I look for another job. But I am looking forward to going on the road next month. Hopefully anybody that's going to be in the New England area. It's in Pomfret, Connecticut, which is it's right off of 395. So wait, Dave, do you know Pomfret? Do you know that area? It's right off of in fact, if you're coming from here, you go up 395, you could stop at Mohegan Sun, do a little gambling, and then continue up to Pomfret because it's thanks, Melissa. I'm sorry. I know that you're Melissa. I see that name and I immediately pronounce it the other way. So I'm going to be up there. It's one day. It's 10 to 5. Tickets are only $10. They're only $10. It's going to be great. I'm going to be live. So if anybody comes up, they get to be live with me because I'm going to do that split screen camera thing that I like. But I'm really excited. And put the link in last week's show or 2 weeks ago. I'll put the link for the thing again in this week's show so you guys can come up and see me sometime if you're in the New England area. If you're in the New England area, I'm an hour. I looked because I'm going for the week and I have family to go see. Hopefully, I'm right south of the Massachusetts border. Ooh. Okay. No, it's not just you. Crashed. I'm back. Oh, I still have 14 viewers, so hopefully you guys can see. Hi, Alan. Thanks for popping in. Who did you mention? I remember I made a note. Yes, I'm back. Hi, Dave. Thanks for hanging out and bearing with me. The computer crashed. Just not a good night for Alan. That's right. T'Pol was your favorite woman of Star Trek, so I'm glad you're here. I knew you had answered me on social. So yes, I'm back. Computer crashed. Sorry about that, guys. Yay! Oh, thank you. Yep, T'Pol. Alan was the one that voted for T'Pol as his favorite Star Trek female woman of Star Trek. So here I am. I'm back. So what was I saying? Oh, right. I was saying that I'm only an hour from Boston. So if anybody wants to make a weekend of, head up to New England, maybe check out Boston, come check out a Quiet Corner convention. Yeah, because it rebooted. The problem was it was saying that there was too much memory being used. Or something. That's why I was having the problem with which doesn't make any sense because I literally didn't open any other browser windows. Like I literally just booted the computer up to do this to keep the memory and everything low, but it obviously didn't work as well as I had hoped. So but yeah, so the computer crashing at least brought my ISS Enterprise back. That's something, right, Robert? Yeah, so anybody that's, would help if I gave you guys the date. It's Saturday, April 29th. So anybody that wants to maybe do a weekend and, go to Boston or whatever, and then the 29th, you just come to Pomfret, Connecticut, hang out at Grill 37 with me for a little while. And then it's 10 to 5, and that gives you plenty of time to go back to Boston or check something, or Hartford, or any of the other amazing things you can do in Massachusetts. Let's see. April, Red Sox game. I lived up there for 4 years and never went to a game at Fenway. I really kind of need to make up for that. All right, so we are done with our Women of Star Trek. Like I said, I am... Oh, thanks, Travis. That would be a blast. I'm sorry you can't make it. So it would be a blast. I would love it if you guys could come up. It would be so much fun. Plus, it would make me look really good to the convention organizers, which never hurts on your inaugural convention, right? So we are wrapping things up. Women of Star Trek. I am hoping to have Erica LaRose join me. Oh, I'm sorry, Robert. Well, I'll let you know how it went. I'm really excited. Like I was going to go last year and it just didn't work out. So I'm really excited that I'm going to have a chance to go this year. I actually found an Airbnb that has horses. So that might be where I'm going to stay. I haven't decided yet. So Erica is hopefully going to join me at the end of the month. We've got 3 more Mondays in March. So Erica is hopefully the 27th. So I need to figure out what we're going to do for Women's History Month for the next 2 weeks. So remember, if you are a patron, you get to help me pick topics. Because you get invited to my super secret Facebook page where we all talk about things like topics. And you can find me on Patreon. It's really easy. Just go to Patreon and it's NX7062. That's where you can find me on Patreon. Any level will get you into the Facebook group. It's through any level. And you can join the Facebook group and then you can help me pick topics. Nancy has been amazing. Nancy has given me some really great topic ideas. So if you want to maybe just pick yourself up some merch, I am still trying to think about maybe doing an after show shirt. I have not designed it yet. But there's also the creator store. Get yourself some merch. I've got some pretty cool t-shirts, tank tops, sweat jackets. I've got something for every season. So yeah, like I said, if you have a great idea, I know that there's been some guest suggestions. That's a little harder to do than topics, but I am listening to everybody's guest suggestions as well. So if you're a patron and you are at the NX7062 at Pajem, which is what I call it, you'll get an invite to that page and just pop up any suggestions you have there. Like I said, female themed for the next couple of weeks would be great if I could think of something else. Or if you guys can help me think of something else. I am a one-woman show, as you all know. Anyway, guys, as always, thank you for hanging out with me. I always appreciate it. Could not absolutely do this without you. So thank you so much. Guys, I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic week. And I will be, if I don't see you at the Shuttle Pod Show, Gates McFadden, on Sunday, then hopefully I will see you all here again on Monday night. Same back time, same bat channel. Until then, as always, live long and prosper.
This is Connor Turner. You've been listening to the NX7062 podcast with Stephanie. Enjoy your evening.